Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Osborn. And on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned throughout the course of their business and share them with us so that we can learn as well. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. We use this method to book 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn. The link to that will be in the show notes below. But on today's show, our special guest is Erin Conlon. She is the owner of Erin Conlon Coaching, providing executive coaching, facilitation, and leadership development as well as keynote speaking. So, Erin, it's great to have you on the show today. And I want to start off with asking you something that I always love to start off with, which is this. If you were able somehow to go back in time and start over in your business, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently in the first 12 months?
First of all, thank you for having me, Jason. I'm so excited to
Yeah.
be here. This is such a cool podcast. And that's such a great question. The first thing that came to mind is I would have started sooner. Instead of starting when I started, I would have started sooner. But you asked the first 12 months, which is a different question than I wanted to answer. So I think the thing that I would have done differently in the first 12 months is be more direct about the support that I needed. I have a referrals-based business. Every single part of my business has been built upon the relationships that I have. And so I
Yeah.
was kind of sneaky about asking for, hey, do you have any referrals when I first started? And I wish I had just owned it a little bit more.
Hmm.
I'm coaching now. Do you want to work with me? If not, who might?
Yeah. 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 So I love that. So reaching out to people that you need help from, but also referrals, asking for that and not being afraid to ask. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, just because of the kind of service that I provide and the people I work with. I used to be an attorney, I no longer practice. And so a great deal of my business is working with attorneys and law firms. And the
Oh,
only way to have credibility with people before you start having like a real record of service
yeah.
is to have initial credibility. So that meant my law school classmates, my former colleagues, all of the people that had worked with me and know me and can vouch for me as a professional and
Yeah.
as somebody that's trustworthy. I wish I had just been a little more like, here's what I'm doing, here's my press release, here's the boldness of who I am now. And that
Mm.
actually would have meant owning my identity as a coach earlier than I did. Um, but that was really hard to do because my identity as an attorney was so fixed. And I also used to do stand-up comedy. So my other
Okay.
identity as a stand-up comedian was also very fixed, but owning the identity of a coach was not.
Yeah, that's really fascinating what you're saying there. And um, I think that plays into a lot of people's businesses more so than they even know. They probably don't even realize it's happening.
Mhm.
So that's really, I've never had anyone answer that way. But I can see that. I've noticed it in my own life and things that I've worked on as well. I've just never had anyone answer the question with that answer, which is really powerful. So great,
Oh,
great
thanks.
stuff. Yeah, I love it. That's why I love asking these questions. Everyone's got a little bit different perspective on things, so it's really powerful. Um, this next question I think will be interesting as well about coming into the identity you're talking about. What's been the hardest part of growing? Now, I know you did a lot of like referral-based business and stuff, so you may answer may be related to that, but been one of the hardest parts of scaling in what you're doing without coming across as salesy or spammy?
That's such a great question because I hate being salesy or spammy. It is like, it makes me cringe.
Yeah.
Especially in the coaching industry, a lot of people position themselves as there's something wrong with you. Let me fix you, even though
Mm,
coaching is more supportive than it is fixing.
yeah.
Um, for me, the hardest part of scaling is just how do you have more relationships with 24 hours in a day? And how do you
Mm.
have quality relationships with people where they trust you and believe you and think about you when you're not in the room? when
Yeah.
we're in a virtual, I also started my business around the same time as COVID. So I was doing a lot of this virtually, this relationship building and network
Yeah.
expansion. So that was really the hardest part for me was like building
Mm.
new relationships based in integrity.
Yeah. 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 I love that. It's such an important thing. And relationships for me, it's all about the relationship. I call it relationship lead generation, as opposed to all the spammy stuff that you see. I think is so important because we have to generate leads, whether it's referral marketing or however you market. I just think the relational side is important. Which perfectly leads into another question I'd love to ask is what's the one thing that you changed in how you build relationships that made bringing on clients, selling, closing deals? What's the one thing you changed in the relationship side that made all of that easier?
Honestly, the thing that made it easy for me was I stopped caring if they said yes. I started caring more about like what they needed
Mm,
and answering their and paying attention to their needs without telling them what was wrong with them, without overpromising, and just meeting people where they are. Um, I can't remember exactly how you phrased the question, but that has been the biggest change for me because
mm,
when I stopped doing business based upon, and I didn't do a lot of business based upon, I want this for me, and I started doing it based upon what do you need for you,
yeah,
it became easier. I
yeah,
then I, like sometimes I'm not the right person. Sometimes I can be like, "Hey, I have 10 people for you."
yeah, yeah. No, that I think another great answer, Aaron. Um, the key thing you said there is you stopped worrying about whether they said yes or not, and I think that is such an important thing. And it goes back to the whole identity thing, I think, as well, where you're not worried about, being rejected or someone, taking it personally if someone doesn't want you to coach them or if they're just not a right fit, not trying to force, that you're coaching on, which I see a lot of businesses do, because they're just so in on we got to make the sale, so we're going to try to force this onto someone and make them believe they need it, which again I just don't subscribe to. It's not the right thing to do at all, which is yeah, crazy. One of the other things I'd love to ask Erin is, well, I'll give you some context to it. We all, as business owners, we all have issues, challenges, and when we go through those things, it can feel really isolating sometimes. We think, oh, I'm the only one that's ever gone through this stuff. And so, one of the things I like to do is kind of normalize that. And I think we all share our experience. We're kind of, oh, okay, I'm not the only one that just deals with stuff. So, having said that, what's the biggest challenge that you've faced in your business so far? And what's the lesson that you learned from that?
I think the for me personally, and I want to answer this because in this way because I feel like everyone has their own little monsters that kind of eat at them.
Yeah.
One of mine is a little not enough voice. You don't have enough
Hmm.
money, you don't have enough time, you're not doing a good enough service, not enough, not enough. And I have never met a single person who doesn't have some version of this not enough voice. And so for me, like having a relationship with that part of myself that actually helps me has been really, really transformational in
Mm,
how I go about my day. Because when that voice kicks in, if I don't have enough money, if I don't have enough clients, if I'm not doing a good enough job, if I'm not smart enough or whatever,
yeah.
if I'm listening to that voice and believing it to be true, then those things will be true. But if I
Yeah.
listen to that voice as a call to action or as a, hey, I actually believe you can be better here,
Yeah.
it changes how I go about whatever I'm worried about. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like, oh, hey, thanks for showing up. You don't belong here today.
Hmm. Yeah.
I see you're here out of habit. Sorry I sent you the invite. Please go home.
Yeah.
No, thank
Yeah.
you. You're
Yeah. Yeah.
wonderful, but not today. This is not your party. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the question you asked me, but I went on a
Yeah.
tangent.
No. It's exactly what I asked. And I think that's really important because it is, I think sometimes, people have like an operational challenge, or maybe they went through something quite dramatic, maybe a business partner fallout or whatever. But I think what you said is something that we all deal with, as you said, at some level, just the voice in our head, about are we good enough in this particular area? And I love what you said as well. It's like, hey, I don't know who sent you the invite, but you can go away now. And I think that's really important, because one of the things that I've studied a lot, because everything you're talking about, like, I've been through and go through. I don't think you just it goes away. I think every new level of life and business, you go through all these new other stages and levels that you have to complete, so to speak. But it's the same thing. It's like, okay, I acknowledge the question, but I don't accept it. It's like, okay, I see it there. And the powerful thing that I think about what you said there is, you're not trying to suppress it. You're not trying to pretend it wasn't there, because that's not helpful. It's like, okay, I see the question, I see that little doubt, but you're not welcome. And that's so transformational. And just really, really powerful for sure. Absolutely. Wow. Great stuff. That's really, really cool. Over the next 2 to 3 years in your business, what are your goals? What are you wanting to achieve?
What I really want to achieve is more impact with fewer touches. And so that's
Mm,
why I am doing more speaking and more facilitation.
yeah.
I love deep transformational one-on-one coaching. And
Hmm.
also, it is incredibly expensive. And not
Hmm.
everyone has access to that. So I want to be able to give people access to that kind of possibility without requiring the kind of like one-on-one investment with me, and
Yeah.
just give people a way to make it available to themselves, even if it's just an hour long listening experience about courage.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. So giving more people access, that may not be in a place or position to pay for your services directly, just have more impact, wider impact.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things is when my clients tell me that what we work on together, they then tell their friends or their family and their friends and like, I love the cascading impact of transformational work, and
Yeah.
that's I don't get to touch the end result, like those further results very often,
Yeah.
but selfishly, that's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same. I'm the exact same way. It's like, that's kind of why I do what I do. It's like those little things. Because even though we provide marketing stuff, it's really interesting when I coach people. Most of the coaching I give is not the marketing tactics. It's the mindset behind, you're good enough to do it. You need to implement it. What's stopping you from actually doing that so you can grow? It's really interesting. And that impact, I love it, So I started off my whole online journey as a life coach, 'cause I've always really been love the impact on stuff. So yeah, love that. Great, great goals. Well, Erin, for people that are wanting to know more about you or get in touch with you, what's the best place for them to do that?
I mean, shoot me an email. It's just Erin at erinconlon.com, ErinConlon.com. That's also my website. You can follow me on LinkedIn and also on Instagram at this.is.not.advice. That's a play on being a lawyer. I probably should rebrand, but whatever. I haven't. Those are some places to find me. You can also find me at some conferences I do speaking, and if you're a lawyer, I might show up at your law firm.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I definitely recommend everyone checking out Erin on the different places that she said. And I can't remember all the this dot, but it's very catchy. It's like, oh no, I have to listen to that again. It almost sounds like a
This
song.
is not advice, but with dots between the words.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Well, definitely, like I said, I recommend everyone checking her out, particularly if you are a lawyer, because I know that that's what Erin specializes in, as she said. So, Erin, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been really, really great answers, unique in a great perspective on your take for me. So, thank you for sharing your insights on that. I think it's going to help a lot of people. So, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for
And
having me. It's just a
yeah.
delight to be here.
Well, you're very, very welcome. And as a reminder for everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn. It's Jason A. Osborn. The link to that will be in the show notes below. And until next episode, stay inspired.